Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today we're having a look at an updated build of Vileplume ToolBox. This has been a really annoying archetype that popped up at Worlds and did start achieving quite a little bit and then has sort of died down due to sort of issues with consistency more than anything else. But now that we have the Tauros GX that we can play around with this deck, I feel like it's worth reconsidering. Because the deck now functions off potentially just one DCE starting to threaten the entire board. So yeah, let's take a look at the deck. First of all, we'll say the main element of the deck, it is a Vileplume build, so we are playing a 3-3-3 line. We all know that Vileplume has the Irritating Pollen ability, meaning that each player can't play any item cards from his or her hand. So the idea is, with this build, now that we have Tauros and we feel that we can pressure more damage throughout the game, we've thickened the draw engine with this deck. Oftentimes PlumeBox did not play heavy Acrobike because it was in fear of decking itself out too quickly to winning the game. Here this deck doesn't have to struggle with that so much because Tauros, of course his main attack is just 60 damage. We feel like that ramps up naturally quite well, and of course the GX attack can take a quick 2 prizes off the board immediately. So we feel that we're fairly comfortable having a heavier draw engine than previous Vileplume variants. So it sort of gets more in line with the other Vileplume lists in terms of getting the consistent turn 1 Vileplume. And of course that's what we look for because it's very, very disruptive and annoying to deal with. So let's have a look at the Tauros now. We're playing 2 of it. It's rare that a 2-of is actually your main attacker in Pokemon, but really it's an issue of space for one thing, but also Tauros is such a tanky, awkward Pokemon. The idea of the deck is to put up the Vileplume and that the Tauros is able to run through a number of prizes on his own back. So he's a 180 HP basic colorless Pokemon with a weakness to fighting. Its 3 attacks all have a double colorless energy cost. Rage does 20 plus 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon, which is very awkward because when decks don't have items, it's hard to VS Seeker Lysander around the Tauros, and eventually your opponent's going to have to play into this if they want to ever win a prize race. So this is very good. It's very similar to the Mad Bull GX attack, which is 30 times the number of damage counters on this Pokemon. So really people have to play around the numbers with Tauros. It is not easy at all to deal with this card without falling into range of a Mad Bull GX and getting blown up, basically, which is very good for us. Its middle attack is Horn Attack that just does for the DCE 60 damage. This is, of course, if you don't have any damage counters on your Tauros, the best attack to go for. Simple stuff, really. It's just a really good Pokemon that you've seen a lot already recently on the channel, and we're just trying to fit more reasons why to play Tauros because it's very awkward to deal with. Certain decks just can't play around Tauros, so that's very strong. Now, the old Vileplume box used to play 2 Jolteon, 2 Glaceon. Now we're playing a 1 count of each of them. Jolteon has free retreat, so it's actually one of our best starters. It does have Swift that does 30 and gets through all effects, but that's rarely ever used. It's normally Flash Ray. For a Lightning DC, you do 70, and during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. Still very disruptive. There's going to be lots of basic Pokemon around in the format, even though there's a lot of new Stage 1 and 2 GX Pokemon. Jolteon is still very versatile and very viable. Still plenty of archetypes function on just basics, so setting up the Flash Ray is really cool. That's another reason why we really like Tauros. People naturally don't want to attack into Tauros, so you chill with the DCE on, you can start firing off Horn Attacks and chilling, while the opponent is actively trying to avoid hurting Tauros, so we can then wait and just keep using Horn Attack until we have the Ninja Boy combo set up, when we can Ninja Boy into either Jolteon or Glaceon, whichever one is more preferred at the time. So Tauros naturally fits the deck very well because people don't want to damage it, which means we have time to then find our combo. Very good stuff. So yeah, the Jolteon is for the basics, and for the evolution decks, of course, we do have Glaceon. It has Crystal Ray for the water DCE, doing 70 during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from evolutions. So we cover both evolution decks and basic decks, so really not many things slip through the cracks of this deck if you actually get it working. Glaceon also has a really viable second attack, which for a water colorless does 20 plus 10 more for each damage counter on your opponent's active. This can help finish stuff off quite nicely as well. If we've been putting counters around the board with these sorts of Crystal Rays and Flash Bites, Flash Rays and Horn Attacks, all these different things, finishing them off for a fairly cheap cost isn't bad either. For some of the other one-offs we're playing, Megaena EX has the Mystic Heart ability, preventing all effects of your opponent's attacks except damage done to each of your Pokemon that have any metal energy attached to it. Of course, this deck is playing for Rainbow Energy, so attaching rainbows to your Pokemon is very useful for helping you protect from these sorts of effects. Otherwise, we would really struggle against Jirachi promo, as well as struggle with the new Umbreon GX. We can prevent the GX attack having any effect on us, which is very, very good because it's a pretty common deck right now. So Megaena still retains its slot. It does have the Soul Blaster attack as well for Metal 2 colorless, which does 120. So sometimes people will try and Sky Return bounce around this deck if you're trying to use something like Glaceon's attack over and over again. So being aware of this, that it's also a decent Ninja Boy target because you can KO Shaman with it. So again, not one to be slept on. Then we are just playing one Beedrill EX. Beedrill has the double Scrapper attack, which is the main reason it's in the list. For a single colorless, you get to discard 2 Pokemon Tool cards attached to your opponent's Pokemon. This is because it's a very heavy Garb metagame that we're expecting for the Sun and Moon format, because of the amount of Vileplume lists that are running around, and also Decidueye and all these Volcanion players trying to pick up that deck as well. I think it's important that whenever we go second with this deck, we can double scrap off Trubbishes so that we can maintain the Vileplume lock. That's what we need to win the game, so Beedrill allows us to do that. So again, very, very useful. From there, we just have 2 Manaphy EX. It has the ability Aqua Tube. Each of your Pokemon that has any water energy attached has no retreat cost. Very handy. Of course, the Rainbow Energy and the single water energy that we play as well can protect us from being Lysander stalled. You'll see we're not playing any Float Stones in here. We are just playing the one Olympia and then being reliant on water and rainbow energies. Unlike previously, we're a bit more able to use our attachments for turn on things like Vileplume just to protect it, because unlike in the past where all of our attackers needed 3 energy, a DC and 1 coloured energy for these 2 attackers, now Tauros just needs the DCE, so we can attach once for turn. Then if they're trying these Lysander stalls, we don't mind attaching 1 again for turn if it means that we can move our Vileplume or our Rainbow Energies. So we're bumping the Manaphy up to a 2 count now and pretty much ignoring Floatstone, because although the deck does have quite a bit of cycle, we feel like just whiffing it is so awkward and annoying that we just prefer to secure it with Manaphy EX. And finally, we just have 3 Shaman EX for the setup, and Sky Return's also an option with the deck, of course. All the usual stuff. You don't really mind putting them to the bench because we do have 2 Ninja Boy in the list to turn them into more viable bench sitters in the future. Things like Megaena, Manaphy, or one of your other attackers. So very good stuff all around. Onto the items. I've said already that the deck just aims to get Vileplume out, so everything in here is trying to cycle through, thin the deck out, and get you into these pieces. Nest Ball is a new trainer card that gets you a basic Pokemon straight to the bench. Obviously very handy, can get you into Oddish, but additionally any of your tech attackers. Then we have 2 Level Ball, which again fits the theme of finding Oddish early, or Gloom. Then we're playing 4 Acro, 4 Male, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Sycamore, all just to dig as hard as we can to try and hit this Vileplume. 4 Forest of Giant Plants, of course, is necessary to evolve up into Vileplume on the very first turn of the game. It's something that we dig for very hard with the males and the acrobikes. It's really the main thing that we dig for more than anything, and then we just have to find the evolution pieces. And then the final few supporters that we're playing, the single Olympia is a bailout option. Gets you around status, gets you around if you're being ability locked and Manaphy isn't working, we do have the backup option of Olympia. It's been helpful as well sometimes healing out of damage. Even though you like having counters on Tauros, sometimes you can prevent 2-hit KOs and make it even better for you. So Olympia's a decent option in here. We're playing 2 Lysander to access the bench if need be, so that we can, if we've set up Mad Bull, we can KO the most viable threat on the board, or if they're just trying to stall or whatever else, we can Lysander up things that we've already put a few counters on. The Ninja Boys as well, we've said, is an important card. Being able to switch one of our basics with another Pokemon in the deck can be really nice for making sure that we can get the viable attacker in the right situation. And it frees up bench slots in a way, because Shaman has to take up bench slots, but you can see how many different techs we use in this deck. It's really helpful to switch that into something more useful. And 3N as well, because we just want to have more cycle. Some shuffle draw as well when we get such a thin deck size, and it can take a while to win the game. If we're only poking for like 60 a turn because the opponent's choosing to not do much, it's important to shuffle our hand back into the deck and try and make sure that we don't deck out. So that's pretty good, as well as obviously being a really good early game option to help us still mill through to get the Vileplume. And yeah, just the 9 energy to round out the deck, all pretty self-explanatory. Playing the rainbows because we want to get usage out of Magearna, as well as Jolteon and Glaceon and Manaphy. So very versatile, very decent energy to attach. In rare situations as well, you can poke yourself a little bit over for Rage. If people are trying to play around the numbers, you can put one extra rainbow energy on your Tauros to maybe get yourself closer to a Mad Bull GX or a Rage. You never know, if that could work out for you as well. So yeah, that is going to be the list, and we will be jumping into some battles now and ruining some people's days, because PlumeBox is not a very fun deck to play around. So we'll see what happens. Cross our fingers to go first and all that good stuff. So let me know what you guys think about PlumeBox in the new metagame. Is it something that can stand up to a few other decks? I feel like it can have a good matchup against other Vileplume builds. I think it has decent matchups against Lurantis, just because using Tauros is very awkward, and of course we have the Glaceon as well, and they rarely play many outs to Glaceon. Normally it's Beedrill or Trevenant EX, and even then it's a one-of that they have to find under item lock, which is difficult. And just, it's still really awkward for decks. Not many decks are playing Ranger right now. It's only really things like Volcanion. Yeah, it feels like it has some decent matchups right now. And we have a really awful hand. We'll lead with the Glaceon because we can attach a DCE to it. We'll put Manaphy down because it's an important card to have. The one saving grace about this hand is that we have Forest very early on. Alright, looks like we see Hammers, DCE. This is probably maybe Umbreon or Tauros Hammers, something like that. We shall see. One of the main reasons why we like playing... Oh, it's Passimian. Passimian plays Hammers. Interesting. Okay, then. Tauros is really bad against Passimian, obviously. We're still going to attach the DCE because we only, after this Sycamore, we'll only have... well, we'll have less to play with than we would with Rainbows. I'm still going to Shaman to draw 2 here. Hopefully find some Ball Search cards, and hopefully we don't draw into Rainbows. We do get the Tauros, so I don't think I want to put it down. The Jolteon has to be benched, and we'll just play the Professor Sycamore here, getting rid of the rest. And we do find Level Ball, which is nice. We're going to have to get pretty lucky if we want to get the Plume overall. We do have quite thick lines, all of them are in here. We still have Shamans that we could spam as well. Going to go for the Acrobikes before the Trainer's Mail here. We have to discard the Oddish. We don't need one because we've just drawn one. And we can Acrobike again. This time we will be discarding... don't think we need Magearna, so we can take Sycamore here. And we'll Trainer's Mail, hopefully for Ultra Ball. I think that's the only thing that can save us. No luck, so we don't have the turn on Vileplume, which is a real shame. Do get Ninja Boy though, which could potentially be helpful down the line. And we just have to pass it there. Very awkward stuff. And that's one of the issues that people have noted with PlumeBox. We are playing so many things, so many non-cycle cards, that it can be an issue when you don't get the Vileplume. Oh, Hammers is so bad for us. So there's Passimian. There's the replacement of Stadium, which is pretty awkward. And then just a Sycamore straight away as well. Looks like this build of Persimmon is playing Octillery rather than Shaman, maybe a split of both even. So that hopefully means that they don't have that quick of a turn one. That's the idea at least. They have Prize 2 Ultra Ball as well, which could hurt their early setup and hurt them finding Persimmon too quickly. There's the DCE at the very least. Gonna see an Ultra Ball. For another Persimmon. And just team play for 50. Not too threatening, right now at least. Ooh, top decking the Rainbow Energy makes life very awkward. Okay. So we could Ninja Boy, Tauros, and Mad Bull for a KO. The only thing is, Plume doesn't stay up. I think we're attaching DC to Jolteon, putting the Stadium in, and then just Sycamoring this hand away, unfortunately. And let's try and dig for Plume while we can. Come on, Bull Search card. Ah, sad times. Okay, Bloom has been developed, if nothing else. And fortunately, we know that their hand is 2 cards. So it's likely that they just Sycamore rather than Lysander the Jolteon here. But we'll see. DC to Mew. And then just going to be the Sycamore. Oh, VS Seeker. Okay, VS Seeker for Sycamore. They could have VS Seeker for Lysander. Interesting that they chose not to. 3, 6, 9, 12. So if they pay retreat, they can get the KO. Which might be what they look to do here. Let's see, VS Seeker for Ranger. Ooh, that's very awkward for us. Okay, so we've got to use N here. Because we can't let them have that Ranger. So we'll pass and hope that they don't have Lysander. One's already in the discard pile. Just going to see the team play for the knockout. Probably just taking Octillery Sycamore here over anything else. That's exactly what we see. We can go into Jolteon. Okay. I'm going to attach the Vileplume, and we'll just play the N again, because their hand is too large. I'm not happy about it. We'll just Flash Ray. Flash Ray and pray. Persimmon and Fury Belt is really awkward. They have a lot of draws to try and find this Ranger here. I think as soon as they find Ranger, they win. Right now, at least. We need to somehow find another attacker. Don't really know what other attacker we have that's that good. It might actually be that we have to bench this Beedrill and start trying to power this up. Flip some coins. So we see the team play for 0. Beedrill's going to go down at the very least. It's the only thing we can put down, but we'll still do it. We'll Flash Ray again. It's either payment with retreat. We're just going to keep spamming until we hit energy to start powering up something else. Lysander's not bad. There's the Mew. You can see teammates so they can guarantee themselves Ranger for next turn. So we really need a top deck of energy more than anything else. Double Scrapper can get us a KO at some point, which is hilarious. But just not right now. We're going to see the Mew go for Encounter. So they've gone for a DC and Ranger, because otherwise they'd be trying to protect this Mew for the energy. Nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. Just have to take the prize. There's an N, maybe that can help things out. We just need to draw an energy soon, really. Very, very, very soon. There's the Ranger. And team play. I think if we hit energy, from there we can just Sky Return bounce for the game. We can double Scrapper, get rid of that Persimmon. Then their team play's output is currently 70 with the active. They'd have to pay retreat to even do anything, so I still don't feel that bad here. We might be able to win the game just Sky Return looping. We can put this in. We missed energy. I'm so sad. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we only had one Rainbow, one DC left, but it's still very awkward. How much they're doing? 3, 6, 9, 10. So I think we're just tanking in the active here, like a boss. That's a pain. Okay, top deck DC right now, or lose. There we go, that'll be the game. Okay. First loss against Persimmon. Whiffed the turn 1 Plume. Whiffed lots of things. Main attacker's really bad against Persimmon. But you saw how many items they played turn 1. I think without items, Persimmon always loses. The opponent was smart to play the VS Seeker beforehand, but still. Let's find another game. PlumeBox is a very all-in deck. You can lose very quickly or win very quickly. Okay. So going first, and we have a glorious hand with lots of cycle cards. Start with the Forest and the Oddish. All very good news for us so far. We'll see how this develops. We're up against a Evolution deck. And Evolution decks are actually quite awkward for us because it should be fairly easy for them to evolve up, even under item lock, and get their attackers going. The only good news really for us is that we have Glaceon and Tauros, and they're both really good against this deck. Jolteon is really bad against this deck. Playing the Acrobikes before the level balls because I have a higher chance of discarding a Gloom, which is a useless card to us. So now we can do this. And I think I just want the... So it's either play nothing... No, we still get something here. Yeah, we definitely get something. We want to get Ultra Ball off this Trainer's Mail, ideally. Okay, great news for us so far. So, the Vileplume is tempting. We have 3 in the deck. We still have our other Tauros, which is fortunate. Glaceon is in here. We do want to develop Magearna also. Prize 1 DCE. Okay. So the attachment for turn is quite comfortably the rainbow here. It lowers our hand size, and we know that we'll have to inevitably anyway at some point, so we may as well do it now. We could Ninja Boy Shaman and just evolve for turn. I think that's our best move. I think I like Tauros more than Glaceon right now, because we don't have protection from Umbreon just yet. The GX attack, that is. So we'll just evolve up and we'll pass. So turn 1 Vileplume, not much else. It's going to be down to us to try and dig for Magearna, Manaphy, and energies now. Eevee does get itself a little Dark Energy on board. Becomes an Umbreon. Let's see what else they can do. Just going to see the Strafe for 30. Okay. There's a DCE, which is great news. And we'll just Sycamore here. Looking for Manaphy. Oh, the dream. Dreams do come true. Biggest issue being that next turn that they can just Dark Call away both our energy on board. Wow, we just see a Concede actually. That could have gone a lot worse for us. It really could have gone worse for us there. We get ourselves a free Pangoro for our troubles. Great news. Come on, out the way. Let's have one more game. So yeah, I'm still not sold that PlumeBox is a tier 1 archetype. I think it'll still flirt around the same levels that it was previously. It's just Tauros does give it a small bit of extra firepower. And yeah, I think it's still annoying to play against. But hey, we win the flip 3 times in a row, guys. If you're doing a Vileplume video, this is what you want to see. Looks like Waters and DCs. I don't know what deck this is. If it's Aquabox, it would be all water energy. Seeing DC confuses me. We once again have a pretty workable hand. Okay, top decking Vileplume as well. So I think our attachment for turn might be Rainbow to bench. I always like to secure that quite early. Because we're not attacking anyway, we don't need to dig for DC now, and it's a -1 from hand. So I think we Rainbow here, Ultra Ball away, Nest and Plume. For, I'm actually tempted to play the Trainer's Mail first here. So if I get the Forest, if I don't get the Forest, it makes my discard easier. So we'll play this first. Okay, so we do get the Forest. Which means we discard the Nest Ball over the Gloom. Okay. Like I said, I think I'll attach the Rainbow to the bench here. And we'll just set up for a fresh 6 cards. Ooh dear. Please, Trainer's Mail, save me. Okay. Saved by Trainer's Mail. Does mean that we have to lose a DC in the process. That's pretty good. Got Manaphy, Glacier, Magina. I think I will cycle these because I want to hit energy. We don't need either of these cards. We'll take the level ball because we can mill an extra card from deck. And we don't want the level ball, we'll take the Rainbow. So, Vileplume established. I'll leave this slot open because I don't know what deck they're playing with only a Shaman in the active. Water Energies and DCE, so I'm still not sure. We just see attachment to Shaman and a pass. Gonna start rainbowing up the active. And nothing we can do here. We'll just pass. Another DCE. Sorry, another water to the active and just a pass from the opponent. You can rainbow up and go for one attack. And let's see if they have anything else to do. Yep, item lock's rough sometimes. Alright then, that was very quick. Let's play one more game. Simply because that didn't really count. But at the same time, if you're in a tournament, that just happens, and you just go ahead, shuffle up again for game 2, and hope that you can do that again. So, it just shows that items are so important for so many decks right now. We won 4 flips in a row. That is great news. That's really good news. Okay, looks like we're up against Yveltal. So, again, the Trainer's Mail makes me want to consider my options here. One Forest always gets played. I think in this circumstance, what Trainer's Mail changes what I Ultra Ball for? Nothing really. Unless it's exactly Sycamore. If it's exactly Sycamore, we could Ultra Ball. No. Okay, we Ultra Ball first. We just grab Shaman. Both Tauros are in here, both are one-ofs, Manaphy. Okay, let's check the energy count as well. 2 DCE prize, so that's something to bear in mind. Ugh, that's ugly. Okay. Let's Trainer's Mail. Acrobike is fine. Tauros can get discarded, definitely. We can discard this Oddish and then find another Oddish. It thins an extra card. So we have 2 Vileplumes in the deck remaining. I again want to rainbow the bench, because I think Lysander Stall is often how this deck can lose. And not a huge fan of that. Not a fan of losing the game, to be honest. And we get everything we need here. We just get Tauros and Plume and a DCE for next turn as well. So we'll pass on this hand. Good news for us. So there's an attachment to Yveltal. Oh, end out of the dream. Hopefully we can get back into a DCE quickly, because would not really like them to take lots of prizes all at once. We do get into DCE, which is awesome. I'm fairly comfortable putting Manaphy down. Could Ninja Boy away Shaman, turn it into something. But promoting Tauros here means they can't really fire off a Pitch Black Spear, because we can just Mad Bull GX for the game. So I don't really feel like we need to do it just yet. There's an Eevee. DC does come down. Gotta think carefully about this. Okay, they're going in. They are going in. Choosing the Manaphy. Okay. So I think we're just Mad Bulling this. If it's Umbreon, their attack will deal 90 to us. 90 to 150, 150, 160, 170. I think Rage and the combination of Rage and Horn Attack finishes off the Umbreon. So I think we're happy to just spend our GX attack this turn. I'm gonna now Ninja Boy the Shaman. Because we want to develop Magina to protect ourselves from Umbreon GX. We don't really need the bench slots for anything else this game. I think Tauros might be able to ride us the whole time. I mean, obviously trying to develop Jolteon may not be too bad, in case you have other Pokemon. Or the Glaceon, they're both kind of viable. Shamaning for 1 isn't that great. I might wait till I can attach Rainbow here next turn. So we'll just Mad Bull GX right now. Don't allow them to take the Manaphy. Okay, here comes Umbreon. The numbers are so bad for Umbreon on Tauros. I mean, Strafe puts us to 90, which isn't great, but... So, I want to Lysander and I want to Olympia both at once, which is a shame. Taking 2 prizes on the Rage is pretty good, but then we just... If they have DC, we just get KO'd. Playing Olympia, retreating back in, puts them to Sky Return, and then we're in the same spot. It just means that we get to damage the Umbreon more, which is better. Okay, so Olympia's better here. So we'll Rage. Even if they have the Sky Return, it means that the Umbreon's the thing getting hit, which is fine by me. There's the Reverse Valley. There's just a Dark Energy getting attached. So we get to KO this Shaman, which is good. And it means that we're also in that annoying range again. We're going to see a Sycamore here. Oh, they did have DCE. Interesting. Very interesting. I wouldn't have Sycamored that hand. I don't know what they're digging for right now. Zorua. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I can see why they dug for Zorua now. We're going to continue to attach. 3, 6, 9, 10. So we put this in. Take 2 more prizes. They choose to go into Umbreon. Of course, they could find a stand-in. There's another Umbreon. And another Sycamore. Okay. There's Zoroark. Stadium comes in. And they've used their GX attack, but I think McGinnis should protect us. Okay, so we can just take the one off the Tauros. Yeah, that makes sense. Because these ones have rainbows, but the Tauros obviously doesn't. Okay. Dig hard. I think we dig hard for DCE. We have one more in deck. Because we prized 2, remember, and we took 1 off the prizes for Magina. Okay, there's DCE. Great news. We can Rage. There's DCE. And Lysander. They can KO Manaphy. The snipe on Tauros isn't great for them, but it might be what they go for. If they do snipe Tauros, I think I just promote Magina. Okay. We promote Magina, KO with Magina, and then we can free retreat and KO the Zoroark that's likely the next attacker. I think that's what we do. I think we've likely won the game. But it's taken a while to choose prizes. It is impressive how the Umbreon deck can survive against item lock. It's quite an appealing trait to have. Why is he sad facing? Can't he take prizes? go. Okay. Tauros round 2 is here. I'm going to put down Manaphy as well. Attach this here. We're going to Soul Blaster this guy. Magearna getting the extra little buff of HP. Protection. I don't mind about committing to the bench, even though they have Zoroark, because Tauros is there to just mop it up. And if they Lysander, it resets Magearna to Soul Blaster again. So I think we've got it all wrapped up, more or less. That's going to be the Strafe. Umbreon cancelling out the effect of the stadium. Oh dear. Did they not realise that I can just... There we go. Big old win for Tauros. So, we went first 4 times, and those are the results. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about PlumeBox down below. Tauros is a very awkward, annoying Pokemon to deal with, as we just saw in a few situations. So, please leave a like to the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. For now though, it's been Joe from Omnipoke, and I will be seeing you guys in another video. See you then.